What if trash wasn't the enemy anymore? What if it was a gold mine, a resource just waiting to be transformed, even into cash? Now today, people turn waste into all kinds of things, but there's still a lot more we could do. And on that note, we've got some really exciting innovations on today's show. Welcome to Echo Africa. I'm Malama Mukonde in Lusaka, Zambia, and joining me from Lagos, Nigeria is my co-host, Chris Elens.
Hello and a warm welcome from me too. Yes, we've got a show packed with bold ideas and surprising solutions. Here's what's coming up. Batteries power our lives, but when they die, can we save them from landfill? In Burundi, scrap metal workers are protecting the public from toxic waste. And with the Humble Desert Date, women in Mauritania show what zero waste can look like. But we start the show in South Africa. Cape Town is full of life, not just on its streets, but in its nature too. An annual event brings people across the city to look a little closer, to notice the plants and animals that share their home. It's part of a global project that turns everyday people into nature explorers.
Remember, you don't need to know what it is. You don't need to know
A nursery web spider that is about to be spotted by a class of schoolchildren passing by. With the help of an app, 12-year-old Lakeisha and her classmates are identifying animals and plants in a Cape Town nature park.
I've seen lots of things. I've seen beautiful flowers, the pretty bushes, and I've seen this big snail that I kept in my hand, and that was fun. And the spider webs are just so much. Being here today is such a wonderful experience. It's so unique, and everything about it is just so mesmerizing.
Lakeisha and her class are taking part in the iNaturalist City Nature Challenge. The international competition takes place once a year. Any city can participate. It encourages local residents to get interested in nature and helps collect data too. Cape Town has been taking part for several years. During the 4 days of the challenge, entry to the city's nature parks is free. The parks support a wide array of species. South Africa is the third most biodiverse country in Africa. The Cape Town authorities welcome the competition.
The challenge and the iNaturalist app definitely helps the city of Cape Town to record the species that we find in our reserves. So as the staff, we go out and do bio-blitzes, we add species to the list, and this challenge, of course, helps tremendously because you're adding much more than you would on a daily basis.
The 2025 challenge saw more than 1,000 people take part in Cape Town. The city where two oceans meet also has a rich underwater world. The kelp forests are especially famous. The large brown algae is home to hundreds of marine species, sharks and octopus included. Amateur divers and snorkelers also get involved. Normally, it's mainly just scientists and tourists that get to explore this unique ecosystem.
With the field of science, which is obviously very interrelated with the natural environment, it can be quite exclusionary and not accessible to the average citizen. And what's so great about a challenge like this is that it sort of bridges that gap, and you've got like your local citizens uploading and taking pictures on iNaturalist and engaging with the marine environment. And in terms of the underwater world, I think that's even less accessible for a lot of people, and people don't really engage with it. So something like this, I think, gets people interested, and that inspires conservation.
The citizen scientists upload thousands of photos to the app. Taking good photos underwater can be challenging. Georgina Jones has taken part many times. She says it can be a rough ride.
Goodness, we've never had decent conditions. Every single time we've done the City Nature Challenge, we've had either super rough seas, super high winds, super low temperatures. This year we had, I think it was 10 degrees at the bottom, and not too dirty and reasonably flat, but It was hard. It was hard. We didn't have a lot of wind, so the tidal pooling was easy at least. But underwater was, as per the last 6 years, hard work.
This year, the citizen scientists recorded over 3,500 plant and animal species in the kelp forests, nature parks and city gardens of Cape Town.
The staff who's responsible then takes off the species that we've added for a specific site, and that helps them to monitor what species we have. They look also at what species might have been present in the past, and then if there's other management interventions that need to take place to bring back species that perhaps are missing that we haven't seen in recent years that's been in the past. So it does help.
Exactly.
The data is especially interesting for scientists. The challenge offers a huge boost to research.
As we go into the future, we're going to use data in ways which we can't even imagine now. Things like the climate change questions like early flowering, late flowering, and problems with, say, pyrethroids. Are our pollinators declining? Those are the sort of questions we're going to be able to answer.
The participants, whether young or old, get to have fun and become more aware of the fragile ecosystems around them. Myrna Schultz says passing on this awareness and enjoyment of nature is the best part of her job.
Biodiversity to the city is so important, having these nature reserves in an urban environment. Like today we have the kids being able to come and do environmental education at the reserve. I love that job. That's my job, but I absolutely love it. So that's quite important, having open spaces for people to come and relax, to walk, just having fresh air around them.
Every year, hundreds of cities worldwide take part in the challenge. Cape Town landed in 12th place this year, with 36,000 observations. Perhaps next year this class will participate again and make another great contribution to science.
Burundi in East Africa has abundant natural water resources, but millions don't have access to a clean drinking supply. Now, to make matters worse, a lot of the groundwater is being polluted by chemicals from scrap metals. Now, collecting this toxic waste and turning it to something useful is a hard process, but we've met some people who are not afraid to get their hands dirty.
These men are disassembling car parts, and in doing so, protecting Burundi's environment. The small East African country lacks proper waste management. Old cars or car parts often end up in the environment. Rust, oil and a range of toxic substances pose a threat to the ecosystem and human health. But this backyard business is part of a change in the country. Once these vehicles are dismantled, we separate the metals, such as cast iron and aluminium. But it's important that we don't mix or combine them with other materials like oil. We carefully sort the metals for the factory and set aside the rest. After years of neglect, recycling is gaining traction in Burundi. People are realizing that waste can actually be a valuable resource. This is why George Nkunzimana runs this scrap heap and raises awareness with his workers. Burundi lies on Lake Tanganyika in East Africa, holding 16% of the planet's fresh water. It's the second largest lake by volume in the world. But littering and a lack of recycling facilities threaten the ecological balance and public health around the lake. Dangerous waste that's been dumped close to or directly into rivers can pollute drinking water for millions. Lead, arsenic, mercury, and cadmium has been detected in drinking water samples, which can cause severe immune deficiencies, infertility, or cancer. It's concerning because Lake Tanganyika serves as a freshwater source for 95% of the people living in Bujumbura and other towns by the lake, like Rumonge and Nyanza Lake. We use the lake's water. Collecting scrap metal in recycling hubs like this ensures that valuable metals are being reused and that dangerous substances don't pollute the drinking water for millions. But raising awareness is not always as easy as it might seem. This work requires patience. We have to go through villages where scrap metal is scattered, and some people are reluctant to part with it. George's team prepared today's delivery for their customer. The collected metal ends up here in this steel plant run by an experienced company based in India. Here, the recycled metal gets sorted once more with the help of heavy machinery and eventually melted down and molded into new products. Each day, the plant recycles 40 tons of metal into steel bars, which can then be processed further. The most popular products are these high-quality steel rods. They are commonly used to build reinforced concrete buildings and delivered to construction sites across the country, like this one next to Lake Tanganyika. Here in the suburb of Bujumbura, some of the plant's material surplus is being repurposed by metal craftsmen who make handcrafted cooking pots and stoves. And the customers seem satisfied. This woman is happy with the new stove for her business, made entirely of recycled materials. The increase in awareness raising and the establishment of small recycling businesses alongside major industrial facilities is a huge improvement and helps reduce pollution in Burundi. With the help of the UN's Environment Programme, the government wants to set up more recycling facilities, while the European Union is helping establish a network of quality water monitoring stations, so one of the world's largest freshwater lakes can stay clean and its biodiversity intact.
Every time we use or charge our phones, we are relying on lithium batteries. But do we really think about where that lithium comes from? In fact, there is a dark side to the lithium rush, including in my home country, Nigeria. It replete with underhanded practices and poor working conditions. And child labor could also be a huge problem in the mines. But instead of digging for more, what if we could recycle it? A startup in Germany is looking to make that possible.
It's dubbed white gold, lithium. It's in huge demand and hard to come by. In the German city of Munich, Sarah Fleischer is CEO of a startup that has found a solution to the shortage: recycling it from waste batteries.
So we have the lithium carbonate, you can see here, made with love in Munich.
If you own a mobile phone or a laptop, chances are you've held lithium in your hands today. Mostly it's in the batteries of electric cars, which could replace conventional fossil fuel-powered vehicles. But we'll need a lot more lithium first. Most lithium is extracted from the ground, like here in Chile. Brine is pumped into ponds, where the sun's heat evaporates the water, leaving lithium behind. This is done in just a handful of countries. Chile, Australia and China produce 90% of it. This process uses around 2 million liters of water for just 1 ton of lithium. And there are other problems. At this market in Nigeria, these chunks of lithium are being sold from nearby illegal mines, which are reported to use child labor and have unsafe working conditions. But there is an answer, one that could reduce lithium mining.
We need to have an opportunity and a solution to recycle that material. The beautiful thing about the lithium is the lithium that you recover stays the lithium, and you can reuse it over and over again.
Recycling lithium from batteries is challenging. The first step happens at facilities like this one in Costa Rica. Old batteries are shredded to remove the components like aluminum and plastic. This is what remains: fine black powder, also known as black mass. Sarah buys it from her partners. To process it, she puts on special gear to make sure she doesn't touch or breathe in toxic or corrosive substances. The black mass contains plenty of valuable metals that are tough to get hold of, such as cobalt, nickel, graphite, and lithium. But the extraction process is tricky.
That has been the biggest challenge, and that's also our breakthrough. We figured out what this lithium likes. Just imagine like a dating game, right? So what is that counterpart, that Prince Charming of this lithium? And we found out what this Prince Charming is, and that is that organic additive. We can stimulate that lithium and basically attract it out of the big sum of battery waste.
Sarah wouldn't tell us what exactly this organic compound is. The industry is secretive. We also couldn't film the actual extraction process. This is the prototype reactor, but right now there's only water in there. The action happens behind these black curtains.
This is where the magic happens. The black mass goes first into the first reactor. We mix our secret sauce, our organic additives, make sure the parameters are right, and then let the process work. And then the lithium will be gotten out. It's one single process step without using any aggressive chemicals, and that's the beauty.
In theory, the recycled lithium could now be used to build new batteries. But for now, this is not happening on a large scale in Europe. The problem is that recycling consumes a lot of energy, so the costs of recycling lithium are high. A few years ago, freshly mined lithium was a lot more expensive than it is today. Now, greater amounts of lithium are being mined, so the price has dropped again. So, a lot of the time, recycling lithium doesn't make sense economically. This is what Sarah and her team are trying to change.
What we are trying to achieve is being cheaper than the mining industry to produce that lithium.
That's the hope, at least. For the time being, the startup isn't making a profit. It's still in the pilot phase. But by 2027, she aims to have a commercial plant that can process 30,000 tons of battery waste per year. For now, it's about getting the technology ready and waiting for the market to catch up.
Have you heard of the desert date? It's not the kind you might be used to. Our next report takes us back to Africa, where women in Mauritania are leading the way in a very different kind of recycling. With indigenous knowledge and sheer dedication, they are transforming the miracle fruit into all kinds of surprising products.
It's hard work. For hours, Ladiba Amedu sits hunched under the scorching sun beneath a kaima, a shelter based on a traditional Mauritanian nomadic tent. She cracks open the tough shells, one desert date at a time. Every muscle aches when you do this. It's mainly your back that hurts, but also your shoulders. This is by far the hardest part of the whole process. You need real strength. Cracking open the shells is just the first step. The seeds still have to be carefully scraped out with knives. To process even this small amount of dates, the women's cooperative in Alec needs 2 to 3 days. They produce about 25 to 30 kilos a month. The precious cargo is carefully packed. This 12-kilo sack of date seeds is worth 105 euros. It's then sent off to the capital, Nouakchott, to the cooperative's workshop. There, Mamadou Ibrahim Sall cold presses the seeds. The first thing to come out of the machine are the seashells, compacted into a solid mass. This is great as soil fertilizer, or it can be used as animal feed. We use absolutely everything. So there's no waste? No waste. Then finally, the first drops of pure oil emerge. See, it's coming out. Mamadou Ibrahim Sall cold presses about 5 kilos of date seeds per hour. The resulting oil forms the base for all the startups' cosmetic products like natural soap, 60 drops of vitamin E, a little lavender oil for aroma, clay, lye, and now for the final step, mixing it all together. With 200 grams of precious desert date oil. Next, he pours just the right amount into the molds and gives it a few taps on the table to release any air bubbles. After 24 hours of drying, 39 bars of soap are ready. Every Saturday, the workshop manager's son sells the soap at a small market in Nouakchott, mostly to regulars who love the cooperative's product.
Déjà, il est complètement naturel.
First of all, it's completely natural. It doesn't contain any products you've never heard of. It smells great, lathers well. For me, it's perfect. The price is fair and it's locally made, so it supports the people here.
On consomme local, on fait travailler des gens d'ici.
A bar of soap costs around €2.50, a lot by local standards. But business is good today. Mohamed Sal has already sold 25 bars. Part of the income goes back to the Women's Cooperative in Alec. It was founded 15 years ago, but its 30 members still can't make a living from it. That's why they reached out to Maimouna Mahmoudine. The electrical engineer runs an agricultural cooperative in the area herself and is well connected within the government administration. She wants to understand the full process, how oil-rich seeds are extracted from the fruits of the desert date trees, which grow throughout the Sahel and are all organic. Zero waste is the cooperative's motto. Reuse everything, throw nothing away. Even the water used to wash the fruits isn't wasted. On the hot ground, it quickly dries into thin cakes, a treat for the donkey. These women are now the environmental conscience of the region. Around here, we are known as the guardians of the trees. We don't let anyone cut down trees. We explain why trees matter for the climate. We even have a letter from the regional authorities giving us the right to stop people from chopping them down. It's recognition for what we do. The advisor picks up on the women's zero-waste philosophy. Why not use the date shells for decorative crafts? Handmade items from Alec. It would suit the cooperative perfectly. But the women have other ideas. They want to plant a vegetable garden on the land for their own use and, more importantly, to make money. But there is an issue. Our biggest problem is water, or the lack of it. We basically never have any. You can't drill a well here, so you have to bring water from neighboring villages. Advisor Maimouna Mahmoudine promises the cooperative that she will advocate for a reduced rate with the State Water Authority. She also thinks they should try another approach. Why not network with other cooperatives? Together, they could start cultivating the trees more systematically. We could create nurseries, real desert date farms. We could form a large cooperative and grow desert date trees on a big scale, over several hectares. If we install an efficient drip irrigation system and take good care of the trees, we'll get high-quality fruit. But there is already good fruit growing in Alec. The problem is, not enough people know about the qualities of the heat-resistant and low-maintenance desert date. The women hope their TikTok video will soon change that.
That's all we have time for on this edition. We've seen that with motivation and new ideas, positive change really is possible. Thank you for watching. And if you have anything to share, please do write us at eco@dw.com. For now, it's goodbye from me, Crystal Lems, here in Nigeria.
Yes, and for more stories, search for Echo Africa online. Goodbye from me, Malama Mukonde in Lusaka, Zambia. See you next time.